Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Transfer Express webinar. We're going to talk about the T-shirt printing calendar, part 1, January through June. My name is Andy Curtis. I am the Senior Manager of Customer Service, Graphic Design, and anything else currently on my plate here at Transfer Express. And if you've joined me before, you know that I've been coming to you with these webinars for many years now, and it's a fun thing we do a couple times a month to bring some education your way. If this is your first time, welcome, friend. We appreciate you being here. We are going to record this webinar, so if you do have to pop out or you're not able to stay for the whole thing, the recording will go up on our website very soon after the webinar is finished, and that is transferexpress.com/webinars, webinars plural. So the recording will go there. All attendees will also get an email with a bunch of stuff in it, including the slides from the webinar. So you'll be able to go over any information, especially today. We have a lot of slides that are very visual, some really fun examples. So if you're looking for ideas, today is going to be one of those days where I have lots of ideas, lots of concepts and stuff for you guys. So hopefully you find that useful. But in addition to that, obviously, you guys have all found the chat box off to the side there. So if you have any questions today, I invite you to pop them into the chat box. As always, I will do my best to answer your questions. If you have joined me before, you know that I can talk for 60 minutes straight without breathing. So if I miss your question, forgive me. My helper behind the curtain will be keeping an eye on things, and he will help answer the questions if I do miss your question. But I will do my best. If you guys don't inundate me, I'll do my best to answer all of them, I promise. But with all of that housekeeping out of the way, today we are going to talk about the T-shirt printing calendar. So the whole idea today is we're going to come at you with ideas in terms of ways to sell T-shirts, some topics that you can use to sell T-shirts, subject matter. Not only are we going to talk about events and stuff that happens January through June, but I'm going to give you some ideas. I'm going to give you visuals. I'm going to show you designs. It is going to be a complete and utter visual overload. I'm going to show you all kinds of stuff today. As a matter of fact, this is probably more slides than we usually do. So we'll do our best to get through all of them here in the next 45-ish to 60-ish minutes. We'll see how long this takes us. So if you are wanting to go see the recording of the webinar afterwards, again, that is transferexpress.com/webinars, webinars plural. So that's where it's going to be posted at. All right. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So we're talking about heat printing as a calendar. So from January to June, what is there to heat print? What can you do? What business can you generate? The first thing, though, is timing is everything. Timing is everything in our industry, and I'm sure we all know that. But let's be real clear about it for just a second here. When there is a trend, when there is something that is popular, you need to jump on it. Timing is everything in our industry. If you're going to embrace a particular holiday or a particular topic and you're going to make that a subject of your sales, you got to be on it, right? So, for example, St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day, especially if you're from, we all know there's a couple cities in the United States that really love their St. Patty's Day parties, right? If you're going to embrace St. Patrick's Day and you're going to do shirts and you're going to make it a celebration, you've got to be ready for it. You have to plan ahead. So that means not waiting until the week before St. Patrick's Day to figure out your designs. If it's a week before, you're already too late. You're not going to make it. You need to plan these things in advance. So we're saying our advice here at Transfer Express, plan a month ahead. So in the month of January, be thinking about the stuff that you're going to be doing in February. Be planning it, be designing it, be ordering it, be pressing it. And that's what we're going to talk about through the webinar today, is we're going to go over that kind of stuff. But we've all seen this happen before, right? And it's not even about holidays. It's also about trends. Does everyone remember when the trend for straight outta fill in the blank when that happened. When those shirts hit the industry, man, those were super crazy popular for a couple months there. And the people who got on it fastest were the people who made the most money off of it. And before you knew it, it was straight out of this and straight out of that and straight out of this. I'm sure everybody's seen it, but the popular thing right now, the trend that's happening right now is Bernie Sanders and his mittens, right? It doesn't matter what your politics are. Everyone likes that visual of Bernie Sanders sitting there in his mittens. There's all sorts of things you can do with that if you've seen the memes all over the internet, right? So the whole point is, though, you got to be on top of it. If you see something, whether it's a holiday or whatever printing idea that you have, you got to be on top of it. Timing is everything in our industry. So the stuff that you're going to see today, the examples that I'm going to show you, and trust me when I tell you I'm going to show you a lot of examples. The examples that we're looking at today are made using our EasyView online designer. Now, this is a free design tool. If you've joined us before, you've probably heard about it, and forgive me if I'm going to go ahead and describe it again. But those of you who are new and may not have joined us before, maybe you're new to Transfer Express, EasyView is the name of our online design center. This is kind of like graphic design software, except we've boiled it down and simplified it to be easy for everybody to use. The online design center is also full of stock artwork. So if you know that you want to, maybe you've got a storefront, you want to do a display of Valentine's Day shirts, or maybe you've got a local school has come to you and they want to do Valentine shirts for Valentine's Day party, whatever. Either way, if you've got somebody who knows they want to do Valentine's Day stuff, but maybe they don't have Valentine's artwork, maybe they've got just an idea in their head of some hearts and some roses and whatever, if they've got an idea, but they don't necessarily have the artwork for it, that's where EasyView comes into play. EasyView is stocked full of artwork that you can use. You can also import your own artwork into EasyView, so it doesn't even have to be about our stock artwork. So Estelle, that's a fantastic question right off the bat. Actually, Estelle, I like that. Do trends have definitive lifespans? And the funny thing is, Estelle, if we went and polled all of the people, so there's about 300 some people watching this webinar right now. If we polled all 300 some people, I'm sure that everyone's going to have sort of a relatively different opinion on this one. I've been in the industry for about 19 years, and I would definitely tell you that there are some trends that will last the test of time and some don't. For example, Estelle, the straight outta t-shirts, straight outta Compton, straight outta Cleveland, straight outta this, straight outta that. Those were super popular for a little while, and we're seeing less of them now. They're not quite as hardcore as they were just a year ago. On the other hand, a trend that has lasted the test of time is distress patterns. For some reason, that's just one of those things that trend always circles back around, and it's always there, but sometimes it gets more popular where everybody wants a distressed t-shirt, whether it's, really distressed and scratched up or just gentle distressing and whatever. So there are some trends that last a good long time and some that are sort of that flash in the pan too. Good point, Ronnie. Many trends are also regional. It depends on where you're from, I am completely certain that those straight out of Compton shirts were one of those things that lasted probably longer in certain parts of the country than others. Juan, perfect. Keep calm and carry on. Oh gosh, that was one. Whoo boy, that we saw all kinds of those when those happened too. Keep calm and carry on. Every version of that you could possibly imagine. So anyway, but all the designs that we're going to talk about today, all the examples that I'm going to show you are from EasyView. And EasyView is a free product. So the way EasyView works, and good question, Tim, you're prompting me perfectly here. The way EasyView works is that you can sign up for a free 30-day trial, and you get EasyView for 30 days. And then after that 30-day free trial is up, there's no actual subscription fee or anything. We just require you to place an order. It can be an order of any kind, any size, anything. You can even order just a marketing kit. As long as you place an order of some kind, then after 30 days, you have access to EasyView. And at that point, you just have to place an order once every 6 months. And as long as you do so, you have access to EasyView. So pretty simple stuff. So again, the way EasyView works here, as I'm showing you an example. So at the top left of the slide, you'll see layout QHL-17. And I know it's a little bit small there, but if you look at that thumbnail, you see it's a Happy Valentine's Day logo with some roses and some text inside of a heart shape. And so the idea is you start off with that QHL-17 layout, and then you can change it. You change the clip art, you change the text, you change the color, and you see how we took a design that was I love you, Happy Valentine's Day, and we turned it into the 2021 princess dance with that cute little Cinderella carriage there. So the whole idea is EasyView. You start off with a layout, and you change it, you edit it, you turn it into your concept, and you use again, you can use our stock artwork, of which there is thousands of pieces of artwork in EasyView, or you can use our uploaded artwork. And I am so sorry, guys. I see that a couple of you are having some sound issues. Remember, the webinar is being recorded, so if you do, if the sound goes in and out, I apologize. We know that that can be an issue, and we're actually working on it. But the webinar is being recorded, and you can check it out afterwards. So t-shirt sales opportunities. So there are 1,000,001 different ways to sell t-shirts. And that, to me, this is one of those things that's just amazing about our industry. Is t-shirts are one of those things that everybody needs, everybody wants, everybody uses. And in the last 50 years, the fact that, and not even 50, maybe last 25, 30 years, that t-shirts have become sort of like a walking billboard, right? Like it's a way of self-expression, where t-shirts aren't just that thing you put on your body to protect you from the cold anymore. T-shirts are a way for you to display your opinions and your thoughts, and at a lot of the different warehouses and providers and stuff. But anyway, t-shirt sales opportunities, there's 1,000,001 places to sell those t-shirts. So just doing a little bit of digging here, some of the more common examples of places and ways to sell t-shirts: Etsy stores. Etsy is a fantastic platform for all of us in the garment decoration industry. Etsy is a phenomenal place for us to go to sell those shirts. And Etsy allows us to be creative too, with the way we sell our shirts, the way we display them and photograph them and stuff. You've also got e-commerce places like Spirit Sale. Stahl's Spirit Sale is a great way to put a store together and to sell shirts. Facebook and Instagram as well. Facebook Marketplace is fantastic. I think we've all bought something off of Facebook Marketplace at this point, right? Your own personal website. Pop-up shops. Pop-up shops are a great idea. Once we get out of COVID here, I think that pop-up shops are one of those things that everybody needs to consider. And we did a whole webinar on pop-up shops, so definitely search that. If you're not familiar, pop-up shop is that idea where you find like a temporary space. You bring in your tables and your tablecloths and your stuff, and sell in a temporary space for a short amount of time. So pop-up shops are definitely a great option. Retail stores, retail storefronts, always a great way to do it. And direct to potential customers, get your info out there, get your business cards out there, sell to businesses, sell directly to people. So there you go. And actually, Freddie's got a great point. Outdoor markets are going to be a great way to sell this summer, especially with how last summer went. I have a feeling that flea markets across the country are going to see a boom this year. So if you've never sold your stuff at a flea market before, this might be the summer to give that a shot, honestly. So great point. Yeah, I agree completely, guys. All right, so aside from how to sell your shirts and the timing, let's actually talk about the sales opportunities, right? Let's talk about what are some ideas. How do we go after these sales? What do we do exactly? So we're going to go month by month. We're going to talk about the calendar. We're going to talk about these sales opportunities. So in the month of January, you've got Valentine's Day. Coming up in February. Again, we talked about timing. You want to plan a month ahead, right? So in the month of January, you want to be planning for Valentine's Day, Black History Month, which is the month of February, the Super Bowl, which is the first Sunday in February, Chinese New Year, and Mardi Gras. So these are 5 common holidays, or not even holidays in the case of Super Bowl. Well, then again, in some places, Super Bowl is a holiday, right? 5 things that are common t-shirt sales items in the month of February. And again, the whole point is we're saying to plan a month in advance. So these are 5 things that happen in February that you want to be planning in January, right? So Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is an easy one because Valentine's Day, you focus on the theme, right? You focus on love, you focus on hearts and roses, and your color palette is easy peasy, right? Because Valentine's Day, your color palette is defined for you. Valentine's Day, it's all pinks and maroons, reds, white. So Valentine's Day is an easy one. Valentine's Day, you just got to find the right design that's unique for you and then customize it. A great example is the one that's at our upper left corner here, the word love with a heart in place of the O in love. That's a perfect example. It's one of those designs that you see out there all the time. XOXO. Clip arts too. Clip arts, arrows, hearts. Again, if you stick to the color scheme, easy stuff. And I'll throw it out there too that Valentine's Day is the holiday where the glitter transfers are perfect. It's perfect. Glitter is especially red. It doesn't have to be red though. That's the crazy part. You can use silver and gold glitter too for Valentine's Day works. But that red glitter, the pink glitter is perfect for Valentine's Day. So right up that alley. So Black History Month too. Black History Month is February. So again, you're planning that in January. There are a bunch of different clip arts we have out there and some layouts that do jive for Black History Month. And to put that out there, some places that would be interested in Black History Month t-shirts, parades, festivals, dance showcases, film screenings, museum exhibits, libraries, the Black Lives Matter movement, especially right now, that it's definitely an opportunity to sell Black History Month t-shirts. And we've got some great clip arts, Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, and some great layouts and stuff too. Keep in mind that the layouts that we have pictured here, we're showing you a couple colors, right? So black, red, yellow, green. So that layout there, QHL 94, if you colored it that way as a screen print, that would be a 4-color design. But if you go the direction of our digital product, Ultra Color Soft, it doesn't matter how many colors it is. You could have even more colors than that. But anyway, Black History Month is definitely a great, valid choice. And definitely right up our alley as t-shirt designers, right? As t-shirt people, garment industry decorators. Black History Month is definitely a good option for us. The Super Bowl. All right, guys, let's talk about Super Bowl for a second here. So this is one of those things that comes up this time of year every year. So I'm just going to put it out to everybody. The Super Bowl is a great reason to decorate shirts. It is a great time for us to capitalize as garment decorators. There are Super Bowl parties all over the country, but the catch is you cannot print the words Super Bowl. So the word Super Bowl is copyrighted. We can't print it. So if you're going to do Super Bowl shirts, you got to get creative and you can't say the word Super Bowl. So the big game, title game, Super Showdown, Extreme Game, Ultimate Championship. These are all alternatives that you can use instead of the phrase Super Bowl. And you got to remember the other side of it too is you cannot print the team name with the city name. So for example, you can print the name Browns, but you can't print Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns together is copyrighted. But if you were to print the word Browns, that's totally acceptable. So Super Bowl is a great reason to print shirts. Super Bowl is a great, not holiday, obviously, but a great event for us as garment decorators to capitalize on. especially if you live in a sports city. Cleveland is one of those cities where our team might not have made it this year. Our team rarely ever makes it, right? But at the end of the day, Cleveland is definitely a sports city. Cleveland loves its football, loves its sports. So if you live in a sports city, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be football. In this case, we're going calendar-wise, and the Super Bowl happens in February. But point being that this is a great opportunity to capitalize on, right? And remember that it doesn't even necessarily have to be people who are focused on one team or the other. If you have people, maybe there's a big Super Bowl party. We all know that there's those sports bars and restaurants in our communities, right? So if you live in an area that has that kind of sports bar that has a big sports focus, then maybe some kind of generic Super Bowl shirts. So Freddie, good question. I live in the New York, New Jersey area. I can print a shirt that says Giants. Yes, Freddie, you can print the one that says Giants. You just can't attach New York to it, right? So you got to be careful. As long as you say just Giants, totally fine. Well, and yeah, you can't do it exactly the way the team does it. So if you send us the Giants logo done in the copywritten version of the Giants, you can't do that. And Elizabeth, it's the same thing with the Patriots. You can print the word Patriots, no problem, but you can't print New England Patriots, right? And you can't use the Patriots copywritten font. So like the way they print it, the way that's on their website, the way that's on their jerseys and that kind of stuff. But again, it doesn't really matter as long as you grab a different font, right? Whether you're going to print Browns or Giants or Patriots, as long as you grab a font that's not copyrighted, and our catalog, Easy View, is full of fonts. So Kevin brings up a good point here. Team colors. You know what? You can actually use the team colors, Kevin, as long as you're being generic enough about it. So if you look at the example in my photograph, actually, I know it's kind of hard to tell because the hand is kind of peeling that transfer. But if you look at the picture there, what we've done there is we've taken the Cavaliers colors, the maroon and gold, and we've totally rolled with that. So those are Cavaliers colors, and it says Cleveland, but because we haven't done Cleveland Cavaliers in their font with their logo, it's okay that we're using the team colors there. So a couple more Super Bowl ideas here. So again, it comes down to being creative. Now, if you look at these three examples, none of them say Super Bowl, right? None of them say that. And actually, the cool thing here is we're not even referencing team names necessarily. So annual big game party. That's a perfect clip art there with the beer in the cooler, isn't it? I thought that was pretty good. Kudos to our marketing team for that one. And I love the one on the far right here. I thought this was so creative too. I'm here for the commercials and food. That's perfect for a Super Bowl party, isn't it? Because you're not referencing any team. You're not referencing the Super Bowl itself. And that's a clever slogan for, I think we all know some people like that in our lives who don't really care about the Super Bowl, but they're there for the commercials and food, right? So it's perfect, isn't it? So I see you guys still have some questions about some of the copyrights and stuff. My helper behind the curtain there actually posted a link there to a licensing guide that we did. And as a suggestion too, if you go to our webinars page, I did a whole webinar a month or two ago about copyrights and suggestions. So I would suggest you check it out. At the end of the day, remember the whole point about copyrights is you don't want to get yourself sued, and we here at Transfer Express don't want to get sued either. So you just have to be careful. You have to use the right combination of generic stuff while not ripping off anything that is completely copyrighted itself. So like an arrowhead, if you use a generic arrowhead out of our clip arts, not a problem. If you try to use the Chiefs copyright in arrowhead, that's a problem. Okay, so next topic, Chinese New Year. So this is another one where, and I think this is largely a regional thing too. So this is one where, depending on where you're at in the country, this may or may not have an audience. For example, in Cleveland, we do have a community in Cleveland that totally embraced the whole Chinese New Year, and this would be something that if you were a t-shirt shop in the city of downtown Cleveland, you could totally capitalize on this particular holiday. So again, you keep it fun. So this year, 2021, is the year of the ox. So you grab a good ox clip art, and that's a fantastic. We've got our fortune cookie clip art is perfect too. You see there in the middle on that mask. So again, Chinese New Year is one of those things where maybe it's not a holiday that would launch off the ground in your area, but it's something to keep in mind. And it encourages you to get out and get to know your community too. If you're going to sell customized garments, if you're going to be a t-shirt decorator and you're going to cater to your community, one of the things you want to do is get out there and know your community and know who exists in your community and who you can cater to, you know? Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is another one. And so this is one where in Cleveland, this might not be quite so popular as if you were down in Louisiana, let's say. But Mardi Gras is another one. And again, this is coming up here, so you want to be planning this now. So Mardi Gras is one of those where you know if you live in the South, you're going to have a shot at Mardi Gras shirts. Let's be honest here, right? So if you live in the South, you're going to want to capitalize on this particular trend. Now, the whole point is plan for it now in January. If you think you're going to do something for Mardi Gras, start thinking now. Start designing it now. Put something together in easy view now. Get your design put together now. Start doing the pricing and stuff, right? And I love how we talked about the keep calm and carry on earlier. I forget who mentioned that, but you see we've capitalized on that. Keep calm and catch more beads. That's a good one, right? Amy Lee, that's a fantastic question, Amy. She says, dumb question, and it's not a dumb question. Is it possible to do this business in a small apartment? Yes. Yes, Amy, 100% it is. You can absolutely do this business in a small apartment, and we've done webinars on that very topic. And Cheryl, great observation there. We have a lot of senior communities that celebrate Mardi Gras every year. Yes, we do. Actually, here in Cleveland, we have a community that celebrates Mardi Gras also. But the point is that being January right now, even if it's the tail end of January, we should be planning these Mardi Gras things now. So this is something in the month of January for you to be prepping for the month of February. And you see, we keep you guys updated here too in terms of layouts and clip arts and stuff. You got layout QHL 79 there is a great Mardi Gras design. Or you don't have to go with all that Mardi Gras stuff. You could just go with the beads and do what we did with our keep calm and catch more beads. All right, so that was January. Now let's talk about February. So again, the same concept here is in the month of February, you want to be thinking about the month of March. So what's happening in March that we can capitalize on and prepare for? Because it's all about being prepared, right? So St. Patrick's Day on March 17th, Pi Day on March 14th. And if you're not familiar with Pi Day, we'll get there in a second. Hold on. And spring sports are going to be starting, right? So baseball, softball, lacrosse, track and field. So let's go ahead and talk about some examples here. So St. Patrick's Day. This to me is one of my favorite holiday examples because here in Cleveland, there is a big St. Patrick's Day turnout, right? I know that there's a lot of cities that can say the same thing. So we're not unique in that way, but there are a lot of St. Patrick's Day shenanigans that happen in Cleveland. So this is definitely a holiday you see a lot of t-shirts printed for in our neck of the woods. So in this example, what I wanted to point out here specifically is if you look at the example that I've put on the right-hand part of this particular slide, you'll notice that we started with actually a Christmas design, Elf Squad, Compton Holiday Walk. You see, we've taken these little elf feet and the words Elf Squad and the elf hat and all that stuff, and we saw the design, and then we took that design and ran with it by turning it into a leprechaun squad, right? So even though the design was Christmassy in nature, you can change it and you can edit it and you can turn it into something for your holiday. So the whole point here is to be creative. Think outside the box, right? So we took that holiday elf and turned it into leprechaun squad. And personally, that's my favorite design here. I like that one. That's pretty cool. I'd wear that. And then on the left-hand side, another good example here, Shamrocks and Shenanigans. That's perfect, right? Little dancing leprechaun guy. So again, St. Patrick's Day is easy because you have the perfect color palette built into St. Patrick's Day. Greens, golds, whites, and silvers. And this is another holiday where our glitter transfers are perfect. Even if you do one color green glitter, our green glitter looks phenomenal. So that's one of those things that's perfect. A green, and actually, my picture here on the left-hand side is a great example of that. The green glitter 4-leaf clover looks fantastic. So some ideas here, and of course, "Kiss Me, I'm Irish" is perfect, right? So that's the thing that all of us equate with St. Patrick's Day in some way or another. But the word love with a clover, the word luck with a clover, there's a bunch of different directions you can go with this. And again, it's an easy color palette, right? Because we're talking about a shade of green, and there's a couple greens you can go with here, but Kelly green, of course, Kelly green, gold, white, silver, black, easy stuff. All right, Pi Day. So, is there anybody out there not familiar with Pi Day? Does anyone not know what Pi Day is? Pi Day is this revolves around the math pi, right? 3.1415. So pi day is 314, right? Because pi is 3.14. So pi day is 314. Okay, so we've got a couple people who know what Pi Day is. So this is a math nerd thing, right? Like, this is one of those things. It's okay, Tiffany. I didn't know what Pi Day was at 3 point. Oh, thank you, Taurus. I had it wrong. All right. So clearly, I am not a math person, right? Pi Day is still a cute idea, right? So Pi Day is one of those things where you're not going to find a huge following necessarily, but I would be willing to bet you, if you have a local high school nearby, if you've got a high school that is large enough in capacity, you've probably got a high school that has a math club or a big math department or some kind of math thing happening. Even where we're from here in Mentor, Ohio, we had a math club. I know. I never knew there was a Pi Day until a couple years back either. But so these are, and actually, here's the funny thing: the designs you see on the screen, these are actual Pi Day designs. These are Pi Day things that have come through Transfer Express. So you're seeing some actual ideas that we have printed. Honest to gosh. So Madison Pi Day, Hawthorne Pi Day, Mathletes 3.14, right? So this is one of those cute things. And again, this might not be the kind of holiday on the scale of, let's say, St. Patrick's Day or Valentine's Day, but it's one of those things that does come up, and you can market this to a high school. This is an easy sell to a high school or even a college, per se. So, clowns celebrate Pi Day. Not that kind of pie, Christine. But definitely a cute idea, right? Spring sports. So spring sports are definitely a thing too. So there's a couple things I want to point out here. When it comes to sports, you'll see that we do have a large variety of stuff in Easy View and in our catalog. Not just spring sports, but sports in general, right? Sports uniforms and spirit shirts and mom shirts and cheerleader stuff. Sports are just one of those topics where there's a million and one ways to decorate for sports, right? So when you're looking at our different artwork and designs in Easy View and in our catalog, you'll notice that there are some designs, like on the left-hand side of my slide here, you'll see that my softball design is just black and white, right? It's kind of flat black and white spot color. It's QBA 328. But then in the soccer section, you'll see a soccer design that's all those colors there. It's kind of cartoonesque. It's got some fading and some shading in it. And you'll notice that layout is 3D-419. When you guys are looking through artwork and you see something that starts with 3D, that artwork is full color, and that's been made for our full color transfers. The full color transfers are meant to be stuff like CAD prints and ultra color. So if you see a layout that starts with 3D, all of those colors are totally doable, but remember, you got to do that in our full color transfers, CAD prints and ultra color. To where on the left-hand side there, that QBA 328, that's being black and white. That's just a flat spot color design. So you can use that you could use it for the full color transfers, but it's meant for screen printing. So that could be a 1 color or 2 color, 3 color, however many colors you want. The point being that the number of colors is what drives the price. So when you're looking at artwork, when you see it in black and white like that, and it starts with a QBA or QBU or QFL, That kind of stuff is the spot color, and the 3D is the full color. Now, the same thing with clip arts. On the right-hand side of my slide here, you see my little my baseball guy there who's sort of crouched down. That's X15A293. He's black and white, so he can be as many colors as you want. He starts with the letter X. All of the X clip arts are meant to be screen printed or full color. And then next to it, you see sort of a 3D. It's almost like a photograph of a baseball glove and a baseball that starts with a W. So when you see a clip art that starts with a W, it's the same thing. That's a full color piece of clip art that's meant to be done with our full color transfers. So point being, if you're on EasyView and you're playing with artwork, if you see artwork that starts with a 3D or a piece of clip art that starts with a W, you wouldn't want to use those on a screen printed transfer type because we can't screen print those full color clip arts and layouts. But anyway, so let's talk about some designs for spring sports. And sports are one of those things where there's a million and one ways to do spring sports. And you know what? It all comes down to what the school is trying to accomplish, what the school's theme is. Do they want their mascot on it? Do they not want their mascot? How generic is the design going to be? Can we stick with something simple that just says baseball or softball, or do we need to get specific? So this is one of those things where there's a lot of different ways to do sports, especially baseball. I feel like baseball is one of those sports where there's a million and one ways. On the right-hand side of my screen here, I've actually shown you an example of a girls' baseball team, right? So we've taken layout QBA-280, which is just simple text, Compton Eagles baseball inside of a baseball. But by adding that little red bow to it, it becomes a pretty slick design for the ladies baseball team, right? So my point here being, be creative. You see a design that could be oriented one way or another, or in this case, not oriented any way. It's just a generic baseball design, but you can make it fit perfectly for a girls team just by adding certain elements to it. And that's the whole point of using our layouts and clip arts, is we're encouraging you to be as creative as you want to be. If you don't need to be creative, you could stick with just the layout itself, right? Like on the left-hand side here, QBA328, you see we did delete one of the lines of text, but otherwise we just kept it simple, right? So the whole point is you can be as creative as you want to be. And baseball is one of those sports where there's not really a right or wrong way. There's a lot of different ways to do baseball. So you see we've given you an idea here for some lacrosse and some track and field. Track and field is another one of those sports where I feel like there's a lot of different ways you can handle this. A lot of track and field teams obviously go with that whole winged shoe thing, or winged foot in some capacity, and that's what you see we've done here for QTK 73. Lacrosse, on the other hand, lacrosse is pretty straightforward. To be honest with you, I see most lacrosse designs that I see come across my desk are very rectangular in nature. I feel like a lot of the lacrosse stuff is kept simple for the most part. And the nice thing about it being rectangular, like QLS 73 there, what's great about that design is you can fit two of those on a page usually if you make it the right size. So that's actually even saves you cash at that point by putting two on the same sheet of paper. And it works because, again, that layout QLS 73 is very rectangular in nature, so it makes it easy to do a gang sheet like that. But again, these are sports that we're talking about in the month of March that you should be planning in February. So these are sports that you can start planning on, start thinking about in February for the month of March. All right. So the month of March, you should be planning for April. So in the month of March, you should be thinking about World Autism Day, Earth Day, summer sports, and spring break. So, Earth Day is one of those things where there's a million and one different ways you can do Earth Day, and it all depends on what exactly is happening, right? Like in this case, we're giving you an example of a couple different things here. So, Save the Planet, Earth Day with a globe, and then City of Lakewood Earth Day, Go Green. So when it comes to Earth Day, there's a couple different directions you could take that, depending on where you want to go with it. Go green, or you could even turn it into sort of a recycling theme, that sort of thing. And then autism awareness. We all know that there are usually, and at least here in Northeast Ohio, you see a lot of different autism walks that will happen when you start to get into April. So you start planning for those walks in March. And thankfully, we have your back covered there at Transfer Express. We've got a lot of different walk-themed clip arts. And this is easy. You just take a shoe or a foot, and you can roll with it. In this case, we gave you this example here of soulmates walking for autism awareness. Oh, spring break. So this is one of those things where I think depending on where you're at in the country, this could be a whole other business in and of itself, right? Like if you live in Florida, and I think I saw a lot of you guys in this webinar are actually in Florida, or I'm imagining, I'm not sure, but I think I saw a lot of Florida. This is a whole topic in and of itself, right, guys? Florida's definitely spring break haven. So spring break, regardless of where you're at in the country, spring break is a thing, and it's definitely a great way. I think this maybe is more of a college-oriented t-shirt opportunity as opposed to a high school-oriented. But then again, maybe that depends on where you're from as well. You've got a great color palette to draw from here, though, too. Any neon color really works for spring break. So neon pink, neon green, neon blue, neon yellow. Throw some white in there for some opacity's sake. So you're all the Florida people. So definitely lots and lots of Florida stuff, right? Michael, good point. 420 is another, that's another date that there's a whole other kind of celebration for, right, Michael? But 420, that's another one to plan for in the month of March. Yeah. Start getting your ideas together and start designing your shirts in March for that. So Cindy's got a great question here, and I know we're already hitting the 2:45 mark here, but Cindy's got a good question. So what would be a good price point to sell the spring break shirts at? So Cindy, any shirt, whether it's spring break or not spring break, the suggested value that we have always taught people, and again, you might need to tweak this, Cindy, depending on where you're at in the country and what your cost of living is out by you. But we've always told people you take the cost of your shirt plus the cost of the one transfer, or however many transfers are on the shirt. So the cost of the shirt plus the cost of the transfer times 2. And that's the suggested retail value. And sometimes you can go even higher than that. It kind of depends, right? So in this example, you've got these tank tops. Off the top of my head, I can't remember how much these tie-dye tank tops are. I think they're somewhere between $3 and $5, depending on what pricing you get. Let's just say $5 for example's sake. And let's say you bought enough of those 2 color transfers there on the guy's tank top. Let's say that if you bought enough that it got down to $4, right? So you take the $4 for the transfer, the $5 for the tie-dye, and I know I'm rounding these off at really clean numbers, but just for the sake of example. So $4 plus $5, that's $9. Multiply it by 2, $18. There's your cost. And again, it's going to depend. Like if you've got a boardwalk shop down there in Miami, you guys tell me. I'd be willing to bet you a shiny nickel that if you've got a boardwalk shop down there in Miami on the beach, I'd be willing to bet you can really go crazy with some of those tank tops and spring breaky type stuff, right? So names and numbers for sports teams, we've got you covered there here at Transfer Express also. And what we've tried to do is we've tried to make this easy for you. If you've never done names and numbers before, we are making it simple for you. You do not have to bust out a T-square or a ruler, I promise. The example here that you see on my slide is the number 23. We did not break out a ruler or anything to make that 23 look perfect. You just had to put the 2 pieces of paper up against one another, right? So we've made it simple for you. We sell the numbers in packs of 5. And so in that number 23, you bought a pack of 2s and a pack of 3s. Then you take the number 2 and the number 3, you just put the 2 pieces of paper up against each other like you see in my first picture, and boom, done. Double-digit number, no crazy spacing necessary. And this is, again, if you've ever tried to do numbers out of heat transfer vinyl, and definitely there's nothing wrong with that. It's a great product and all, but you know it can sometimes be a pain to do the spacing and stuff. So we've made that simple here with the numbers on the paper. All right. So the month of April, you should be planning on the month of May. So we've got Mother's Day, which is the second Sunday of May. You've got Memorial Day. And let's be honest, in the month of May, you've got some of those year-end school stuff like field day, prom, and graduation. So again, those are big events, especially if you have a high school, a big high school in your area, and you have the chance to capitalize on prom or graduation. You don't want to get on that in the month of May. You want to be asking about it and seeking out that business much earlier than May, right? So these are just some ideas of some things in the month of April you should be planning on for the month of May. Jocelyn's asking, how long does it take to get the transfers? The transfers that we're showing you here, Jocelyn, are all between 1 and 3 day turnaround times, depending on how many colors and how many pieces, and if it was your custom artwork or our artwork. But the good news is all the stuff you're seeing is super quick, 1 to 3 days. So Mother's Day. Mother's Day is an easy one because Mother's Day, there's not quite as defined a color palette, right? And there's so many fun things you can do for Mother's Day. I love the example in the middle here. I think this is the coolest thing. The word mama in a big bear and then the word baby in a little bear. How cute is that? Tell me how precious that is. And here's the best part is if you size that mama bear, if you size her the right way, you can fit the baby bear on the same piece of paper. Because the paper we print on is 11.5 by 14. So you could feasibly get those together on the same sheet of paper and only have to order, one order instead of 2 separate orders. But you know what? These are all great Mother's Day ideas, not all heroes. That's perfect. Tough as a mother, that's great too. So these are just some simple ideas. And the great thing about Mother's Day is that you could capitalize on the same color palette as Valentine's Day if you wanted to, the whole pinks and the whites and stuff, but you don't necessarily have to. That's not a clearly defined thing with Mother's Day. So maroons, pinks, purples, all great stuff. End of the year school events. There are tons of end of the year school stuff. What we're showing you here are 3 popular examples of stuff that we see every year here at Transfer Express. On the far left, you see your simple senior shirt. Nothing too crazy. There's no names or anything. It's just senior strong with the year and the high school name. Easy peasy stuff. Nothing crazy. In the middle here, you see we've done a roster. So these are typed names, all the graduating seniors in the high school. Now, the number that we tend to try to stick with is 212 names or less. We can still help you if you have more than 212, but 212 is that magic number where the names are all still very readable and clear and don't close up and get blurry or anything. But definitely a great strategy. And you see a lot of schools do the whole roster thing. We get a lot of these. If your school has never done it before, it's a great way to propose to them senior shirts, doing the whole senior class like that. Or in the far right, now this is an example of something where you can't necessarily do the entire senior class unless you have a smaller high school, but this is a signature shirt. So we do a lot of these every May and June where you order a template from us. The template is $25 and we send you this piece of paper that looks like that big number 21. You get the kids to sign with a medium felt tip Sharpie and then you mail the template back to us. We give you the $25 back and then make the transfers out of that signature template. It's pretty cool. And the signatures are fantastic. It's one of those things where, sure, sometimes if a kid gets really weird with their signature, it might not print super clearly, but it's that whole idea that a kid can point at that and go, "That's my signature. That's my signature." So it's a neat product for sure, definitely. Shalandos, that's a great question. How do I put 3 designs on the same sheet? You budget your space. Remember that the paper is 11.5 by 14. So at the end of the day, plan out your designs and make sure, it depends on your artwork too, Shalandos. It depends on what exactly you're doing and how big your art is and what the topic and subject matter and stuff. But the paper is 11.5 by 14. Split that up however you want. As long as you're doing the math and budgeting your space, you can put more than 3 designs on one sheet, honestly. All right, the month of May. So in the month of May, you should be thinking out about the month of June. So in June, you have Father's Day, the third Sunday of June. You've got golf outings, golf as far as the eye can see, summer festivals of all sorts of different topics, family reunions, and then I don't know about you guys, but we tend to get a lot of this. Summer is perfect for weddings, and summer weddings mean bachelor and bachelorette parties, right? So just some things, and again, these are all things that you see happening a lot in the month of June, so you need to be on it in the month of May. So Father's Day. Father's Day is so much fun because this is another one where it's kind of like Mother's Day, where there's not really a great definition here, so you can get creative. Father's Day annual barbecue on the far left here. That's definitely a cute design. Father and son camp out on the far right, but I'm sorry, that design, our design's in the middle here. This is my favorite. I think this is so cool. I think as the garment decorators, I think we make this popular this year. Let's make this happen, guys. Maybe I'm tacky. I don't know. I think this is cool though. So you see, we've taken our tie clip art, X17B-89. Thank you, Wilfredo. See, I thought it was cool. X17B-89. You take the tie and you do whatever you want with it. You see the one at the top left, we put some palm trees in there. The one at the bottom left, we did some shamrocks. The one at the top right, we did camo, and then the one at the bottom right, we did some text and a clip art and stuff. So thank you, Christine. It's cool and tacky. So definitely a neat idea, right? I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. Family reunions. Again, I think this might be regional. Maybe it depends on where you're at in the country, where you're from. I think some regions, especially in the South, I think you see a lot of folks in the South really do the whole family reunion thing, and they don't just do family reunions; they do it up, and the celebrations and renting out of a beach house or a big facility and stuff. And obviously family reunions, you got to have shirts, right? So family reunion shirts are one of those things, and we do our best to give you a whole bunch of different family reunion designs. We've got some very clever ones in our catalog in an easy view, so definitely check them out. Personally, I like the one on the right here, the "we stick together" with the cactuses. Get it? So we stick together. That's pretty clever. So family reunion season, definitely in June, so you want to be planning for it in May. And all of those summer weddings mean that there are bachelorette parties happening, bachelor and bachelorette parties happening. So in the month of May, this is definitely a topic you see happening more. And what I've tried to do here is giving you a couple ideas. The whole bachelor and bachelorette thing, this is a whole different topic. Like, we could talk about this for half an hour by itself. There are so many things you can do here. On the left, I've given you an example of a design where we did just a sort of a generic Holly's final shindig before the ring, right? So on the front, it's that simple purple design. But on the back, we've done names and numbers, except we didn't do like names. We kept it bride and father of the bride, mother of the bride, bridesmaid, mom of the bride, that kind of stuff. So it's a clever way of taking a sports-oriented design and sort of turning it on its ear and doing a bachelorette theme with it. Then we've got some pictures of some robes here. And again, with these robes, when you do that kind of thing, you just want to be cognizant of what the material is. So is it nylon? Is it satin? Is it polyester? And then make sure you get the corresponding transfer type. If you tell us what fabric you're using, we'll tell you what type of transfer to get. No problem. Emery, I would like to know if you have any of those templates in French. So to be honest with you, Emery, no, we don't. None of our layouts are in French by default. But again, that's the beautiful thing about our layouts is you can customize them to anything you want. So if you want them in French, jump on Easy View, pick the design you like, and you can customize it and retype it and redo it. But anyway, so bachelorette, bridal parties, wedding favors even. Wedding favors are a great example. I know I don't have the picture on here, but koozies, can coolers, right? Those are fantastic wedding favors too, and super easy to print. Golf outings. We have a couple golf courses here in Northeast Ohio, so golf outings are definitely a living, breathing thing in Northeast Ohio when you get to June. And there are golf outings for everything. Every charitable organization and 501c3 organization has a golf outing at some point. I'm convinced of it. It's just a matter of being on top of it, finding those organizations, showing them that you can do their golf outing, towels, bags, T-shirts, the whole 9 yards, right? And we've got a whole bunch of different golf designs here at Transfer Express, lots of different golf options. And golf is a simple one, guys. Golf is easy because there are so many, it's a golf ball. It's a golf ball in text. It's not anything crazy. There are some sports that are really oriented towards getting real colorful and wacky. Golf is sedate. Golf is an easy one to design for, right? Summer festivals. In the month of June, there are a ton of different festivals. There's a lot of different stuff happening. I know locally here, you've got, we have a couple different churches that do their festivals during the month of June. You've got different pride stuff happening in the month of June too. So lots of different summer festivals. And the best thing about festivals, guys, the best thing about festivals is it is usually very cost effective to rent a space at the festival. Especially if you're doing a small local thing. Like in the city of Cleveland, festivals get real big and it might cost a little bit more money to have a stall, that kind of place. But if you've got a smaller thing, maple festival, strawberry festival, that sort of stuff, a small local festival in your county, it might be pretty cost effective to get a booth and to actually take your heat press down there, do the heat pressing on the spot, you know. Summer festivals are a fantastic, we've actually done webinars about summer festivals. So definitely great opportunities. But again, month of June, so you're planning it in the month of May. All right, and the last month, June. So June, you're going to be planning for July. In the month of July, you've got the 4th of July, you've got sports tournaments, Vacation Bible School, horse shows, car shows, and camps. By the month of July, you've got all kinds of camps going on. So again, we're planning all of this stuff in the month of June. 4th of July is an easy one because you've got a color palette clearly defined for you, red, white, and blue, right? So 4th of July is easy peasy. You get some stars, you get some stripes, red, white, and blue. We've got a lot of different clever designs for you too. We have a lot of different designs here at Transfer Express for 4th of July. And again, I want to encourage you to be creative. You don't need to go grab a pre-made 4th of July design. You can simply go into the clip art and grab some stars and grab some stripe clip arts, and you can put something together yourself real easy. So this is one where we do encourage you, be creative, think outside the box. And of course, yes, Faith, of course, Canada Day too. You can tell we're located in the States since we focused on the stuff in the States here, but very good point. So Vacation Bible School, this is one of those things where if you're not familiar, different churches, different churches do this differently, but a lot of times every year there is a big Vacation Bible School effort. There's an organization that makes the official Vacation Bible School design for the year. And if that kind of thing happens, if the church approaches you and they've already got their Vacation Bible School artwork and stuff, that's totally fine. We can accommodate that. We can custom print it. It's not a problem at all. But if you do have a small church, maybe they haven't bought a Vacation Bible School package, they're doing it all themselves, they're trying to save some money, we do have some Vacation Bible School ideas, like the example that you see here, Cavern Crusade for Compton Community Church. And again, the whole idea here is you customize it and make it your own. But Vacation Bible School is one of those things you do see a lot of shirts for. We see locally here, I know in looking at just the city of Mentor in Northeast Ohio, I can tell you 5 different Vacation Bible Schools that will be happening in the month of July any given summer. So definitely something you can capitalize on. You just got to approach the church, market yourself to them, and make sure you do it in advance. Again, usually they happen in July, so you want to be doing this in the month of June. Ooh, Juan, that's a good example too. I hadn't thought of that, Juan. Public library summer reading programs. Definitely. Actually, that's a great point. I remember those as a little kid myself, actually. Summer reading programs, Juan. Horse shows and car shows. So again, these are ones where there might be a limited layouts in our catalog, but you can get creative. We've got lots of car clip arts. We've got lots of horse clip arts. If you see a design that you think looks cool, but isn't for a horse show or a car show, it's real simple to make it into one, right? So in this example, QMS 142, we've got something that's more cowboy oriented. But by taking that horseshoe clip art and making a couple little tweaks to it, we've got a slick horse show design, right? And we've got some stock car clip arts and stuff too, where you can take a few car clip arts and turn it into a classic car show without too much effort. Camps. So here's the thing I want to throw out here with camps. If you are working with the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts, please keep in mind that those are both copywritten phrases, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. And keep in mind that with both organizations, the troop level is not permitted to give you the proper permission. With the Girl Scouts of America, you do have to go to the conference level to get the permission for Girl Scouts of America to print Girl Scout camps. And if you're working with the Boy Scouts, you do have to go to their national office. You do have to go to BSA headquarters, and you have to get permission directly from BSA headquarters legal department to print the words Boy Scouts. Again, this is one of those things where we don't make the rules up, just informing you of what the laws are so you know. But those are not the only camps. There are tons of camps out there. And yes, Patty, you can upload your own artwork into all of this. If you've got your own stuff, you don't have to use ours. EasyView can accommodate your artwork too. Oh, Shalandos, yes, you're right. Juneteenth. Juneteenth is another good one. That's a fantastic one to plan for in advance. Absolutely. And sports tournaments. Sports tournaments, this is another topic that we could literally talk about for 45 straight minutes because we have. Sports tournaments are their own beast. You can do printing on site at sports tournaments. There is a whole methodology. As somebody who's been in this industry for almost 20 years, I can tell you that there are customers out there, there are people out there whose whole business is based around sports tournaments. There are some people who learn how to do certain things so well that they focus on even just one kind of sports tournament. So this is one of those things where it is a whole beast in and of itself. And I encourage you, if you're interested in breaking into the sports tournament part of our industry, I would definitely tell you to download our free ebook because we definitely focused on this. And it's definitely worth it. So, John, just as a heads up there, John, Boy Scouts doesn't actually work that way. With Boy Scouts, you do have to get permission from the legal level, the national level, BSA headquarters, and we know this because we've had some dealings with the legalities behind BSA. So if you are going to be involved with Boy Scouts of America, just heads up, you do have to get a letter of permission from the national headquarters, BSA headquarters, not the council level for BSA. Girl Scouts are different. Girl Scouts, you can get permission from the council level. All right, and coming in June, we will give you the t-shirt printing calendar for July through December. So thank you, everybody, for joining us for the first part of the calendar here. And the best part about all of this is thank you, Eddie. See, May the 4th be with you. I didn't even cover every opportunity here. The whole point was to get your creative juices flowing and put some ideas out there. I wish I'd thought of that, though, Eddie. That's perfect. May the 4th be with you. I always forget about that. But so join me in June. I will be bringing you the second part, July through December, of the t-shirt printing calendar. So thank you, everybody, for joining me today. And look at that. We came in at an hour and 4 minutes, so not even that bad, right? I apologize for those of you who had sound issues. We are working on it. I promise you, if you're one of my regulars, some of your names, Christine, Freddie, I've seen you guys a couple times. I know you've been putting up with our sound issues. We are working on it. I promise you we're going to fix that. So thank you, everybody. If you have questions or suggestions, I invite you to email me, info@transferexpress.com. Our customer service folks would love to hear your suggestions if you're got ideas for other webinars or have input that you would like to give us. And check out our blog.transferexpress.com, our award-winning blog. Our marketing team does a nothing short of stellar job of putting together ideas and things. That blog is phenomenal if you're looking for sales ideas, sales concepts, art ideas. If you've never checked our blog out, please do. And the recording will be at transferexpress.com/webinars. So, Stephen, that is a fantastic question. Stephen, do you have a community forum we can join? It's not a community forum per se, Stephen, but if you've ordered from us, there is a Facebook group you can join. There is a Facebook group, Easy View Dealers, or Easy Prints Dealers. I'm sorry, Easy Prints Dealers that you can join. You do have to have purchased from us before, though. Amy Lee, to start, you're going to go to transferexpress.com, Amy, and you're going to scroll about halfway down the page, and you will see a link for start your free 30-day trial of EasyView. That is where you start, ma'am. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I thank you for joining me today, and thank you for the questions and the lively conversation. You're a great crowd, and we will see you again soon.